My girlfriend slept with one of the men who came to entertain her and her friends, but what I did next hit them harder than they ever imagined. I've always trusted my gut. It's what makes me good at my job, finding vulnerabilities in systems before hackers do. But for 3 months, I've been ignoring that same instinct screaming at me about Harmony. We'd been together 5 years. We met at a tech conference where she was promoting some wellness app for her PR firm. I was the awkward cybersecurity analyst who spilled coffee on her presentation materials. She laughed it off and said my clumsiness was refreshing in a world of practiced perfection. That should have been my first warning about her obsession with appearances. The changes started small. She put a new password on her phone and suddenly needed space to recharge with yoga classes that somehow never showed charges on our shared credit card. Then came the girls' nights, always with the same 3 friends, always on Thursdays, always ending conveniently when her phone died. Tonight was Thursday. "Babe, I'm heading out," Harmony called from our bedroom, emerging in a black dress that cost more than my laptop. "Girls' night at Bianca's place. You know how she gets if we're late." I looked up from my code review. "Bianca's? I thought you said last week her place was being renovated." A microsecond of hesitation. "Oh, did I? Must have been Felicia's place. I was thinking of Bianca's renovation. It finished Tuesday." "Right." I watched her apply lipstick in the hallway mirror, burgundy. She never wore burgundy to hang out with girlfriends. "What's the plan tonight?" "Wine and Netflix, probably. Maybe some gossip about Roxanne's latest listing drama." She grabbed her purse, checking inside twice. "Don't wait up. You know how Bianca's wine pours get." The kiss she gave me was performance art, just enough warmth to seem normal, not enough to smudge her lipstick. "Have fun," I said, already pulling up my phone. Her Uber headed downtown, not toward Bianca's suburban house. I knew because I'd helped Bianca set up her home security system last year, and her renovation story was bullshit. She'd posted photos from her house yesterday on Instagram. I grabbed my keys. The tracking app showed Harmony's phone stopping at Meridian, a rooftop lounge that required reservations weeks in advance, not exactly Bianca's living room. I parked 3 blocks away and took the stairs to avoid the main elevator. The emergency stairwell opened onto a service area near the kitchen. Through the porthole window, I could see the main floor, all glass and gold accents, the city sparkling below. Then I spotted them: Harmony, Bianca, Felicia, and Roxanne. They'd commandeered a corner booth with bottle service already arriving, real champagne, not the Prosecco they drank at our dinner parties. Bianca, the boutique owner who constantly complained about her surgeon husband's long hours. Felicia, the pediatric nurse married to a tax attorney who funded her shopping addiction. Roxanne, the real estate agent whose husband managed a hedge fund and traveled constantly. They were laughing about something on Felicia's phone, heads thrown back like they didn't have mortgages and marriages waiting at home. I positioned myself behind a service partition with a clear sight line. My phone camera had excellent low-light capability, a perk of reviewing security equipment for work. "God, I needed this," Roxanne said loud enough to carry. "If I had to listen to one more story about portfolio diversification, at least yours travels," Bianca chimed in. "Mine's been home every night this month. I can't even breathe without him asking what I'm thinking." Harmony laughed. "Ashton's been extra clingy lately too. I swear he tracks my location more than my iPhone does." My chest tightened. Speaking of which, Felicia raised her glass. "Everyone's phone is off. Can't have any surprise check-ins ruining the fun." They all produced their phones, making a show of powering them down. Harmony dropped hers in her purse with theatrical flourish. "Perfect timing," Bianca said, looking toward the entrance. "They're here." I shifted for a better angle, keeping my phone steady. 4 men approached their table, definitely not anyone's husband. Expensive suits, confident walks, the kind of smiles that closed deals and opened doors. They greeted the women with kisses that lasted too long for acquaintances. One of them, tall with silver at his temples, slid in next to Harmony. His hand disappeared beneath the table. She didn't move it away. The man's name was Constantine. I heard it when Harmony introduced him to a passing waitress. Constantine's hand was tracing patterns on her thigh. The others paired off too, Bianca with a younger guy who kept touching his Rolex, Felicia practically in the lap of someone who looked fresh from a GQ shoot, and Roxanne entertaining a man who whispered in her ear between champagne sips. I stayed frozen, recording everything. 23 years in tech had taught me patience. You don't catch hackers by rushing. You document, analyze, then strike. Another round. Constantine flagged the waitress and said, "Transfer our reservation to the Velvet Room." The Velvet Room, I'd heard of it. Meridian's private space for high rollers. Soundproof. Exclusive. Perfect for things you didn't want witnessed. They moved as a group, the women giggling like teenagers sneaking out past curfew. I waited 30 seconds, then followed through the service corridor. The Velvet Room had a separate entrance, but venues like this always had multiple access points, fire codes. I found a maintenance alcove with a ventilation grate that offered a partial view inside. Not perfect, but the audio would carry. They'd claimed a circular booth surrounded by burgundy curtains. Constantine ordered bottles I couldn't pronounce. To mixing business with pleasure, Constantine raised his glass. To husbands who think we're reading book club pics, Roxanne added, and they all clinked. My phone captured every word in crystal clarity. Speaking of which, Felicia leaned forward. Mine actually asked if he could join book club last week. Can you imagine? Jerome in our circle trying to discuss his investment theories. Better than mine, Bianca said. Harold bought me a Kindle for Christmas. Said it would help with my new hobby. I almost felt bad. Almost. The young guy with the Rolex asked. Guilt fades fast when you're stuck listening to surgical procedures over dinner every night. Harmony finally spoke. Ashton's planning something. He's been weird lately, asking about my ring size. My stomach dropped. Oh God, not a proposal, Roxanne groaned. What is it with men thinking a ring fixes everything? Felicia agreed. Like we're vending machines, insert commitment, receive loyalty. What will you say? Constantine asked, his mouth close to Harmony's ear. What I have to, she replied. Until something better comes along. Constantine laughed. I might have some ideas about that. Apex is expanding. We could use someone with your connections. My connections or _data's my client list? Harmony traced his collar. Both. Palmer Industries alone would be worth the recruitment. Palmer Industries, my company. She was discussing selling out my employer to her side piece. Ladies' room, Bianca announced. Coming? All four stood, leaving the men to their whiskey and war stories. I shifted position, catching them at the mirror through a gap in the door. This is getting complicated, Felicia said, reapplying gloss. Jerome is starting to notice the charges. So get better at hiding them, Roxanne suggested. I've got 3 cards he doesn't know about. Must be nice, Bianca muttered. Harold monitors everything. I had to say tonight was a charity planning meeting. Oh, sword, Harmony said. That reminds me, the hospital gala is next weekend. We're all going, right? With the husbands. They groaned in unison. Can't skip it, Roxanne said. I'm on the committee. Plus, my mother-in-law bought a table. We could pre-game, Felicia suggested. Meet these guys Friday, suffer through Saturday. Constantine wants to see that waterfront property you're listing, Harmony told Roxanne. The one with the private dock. The Bayside estate. That's a $3 million listing. He's good for it. Apex just landed 2 pharmaceutical companies. They returned to the men and I kept recording. Another hour of touching, whispering, planning. They discussed meeting locations, cover stories, how to handle suspicious questions, professional adultery, organized like a business merger. We should go, Harmony finally said, checking her watch. Can't have them wondering. Next Thursday? Constantine asked. Wouldn't miss it. They exchanged numbers using burner apps. The men paid cash. Everyone avoided the main exit. I made it to my car first, drove home with my phone heavy in my pocket. Harmony arrived 40 minutes later, smelling like expensive cologne and lies. How was Bianca's? I asked from the couch. Boring. We watched some reality show about housewives. She headed straight for the shower. I'm exhausted. I waited until the water was running, then opened my laptop and started planning. The children's hospital gala was in 7 days. They'd all be there playing perfect couples for Portland's elite. They had no idea what I was about to do. The footage was perfect, every laugh, every touch, every confession captured in 4K clarity. I transferred everything to multiple encrypted drives, then started my research. The Children's Hospital Gala wasn't just any charity event, it was the charity event where tech money met old money, where deals got made between auction bids. Harmony had been talking about it for months, mainly complaining about the dress cost. I pulled up the event website. Platinum sponsors included my company, Palmer Industries. Perfect. I drafted an email to my CEO's assistant volunteering to handle our company's AV presentation. Sent at 2:47 a.m., dedicated employee working late. Nothing suspicious. By morning, I had approval. Harmony emerged from our bedroom around 7, wearing her PR face. Morning, babe. I might be late tonight, client crisis with that restaurant launch. No problem. I picked up the gala's AV contract for Palmer. Thought it would be good visibility for us. She paused mid-coffee pour. You volunteered for event work? Company wants more community engagement from senior staff. Besides, you'll be there. We can ride together. That's sweet. The word came out like she was chewing glass. She left quickly. I called in sick to work and got started. First, I studied the venue's technical specifications. The grand ballroom had 17 display points, main projection screens, auxiliary monitors, plus a new digital donation board that synced with phones. Everything ran through a central system I could access with AV credentials. Next, the women themselves. Bianca Fournier, 34, owner of Novo Boutique, 3 locations, 12 employees. Investors included 2 city councilmen and a federal judge's wife. Her LinkedIn showed speaking engagements about female entrepreneurship. Her husband Harold was chief of neurosurgery at Presbyterian. Felicia Winters, 31, pediatric nurse at Children's Hospital, the same one hosting the gala, board member for 2 healthcare nonprofits. Her husband Jerome was a tax attorney who just made partner. Their Christmas card last year talked about blessed partnerships. Roxanne Chin Williams, 36, top real estate agent with Pinnacle Realty, licensed in 3 states, featured in Sunset Magazine as the West Coast's power broker. Husband managed Stratton Hedge Fund, net worth I couldn't calculate without a Bloomberg terminal. And Harmony, my girlfriend, lifestyle PR manager, 15 corporate clients, my mother's favorite future daughter-in-law. I dug deeper. Credit card statements showed patterns, hotels during client meetings, restaurants while she was supposedly at spin class, a lingerie purchase from La Perla the day before last month's girls' night. Roxanne's real estate license had an ethics complaint from 2019, dismissed, but interesting. Felicia had switched hospitals twice in 5 years. Bianca's boutique had a suspicious insurance claim after inventory went missing. I created folders for each woman, evidence sorted, tagged, ready for deployment. The technical setup took 3 days of preparation. I wrote a custom script that would override every connected display simultaneously, no escape routes. The code was beautiful, the kind of elegant destruction that earned hacker legend status. But public humiliation wasn't enough. These women had built careers on image management. They'd spin it, claim it was taken out of context, maybe even flip themselves into victims. I needed institutional damage. I composed emails for their professional contacts, Bianca's investors, the nursing board, the real estate licensing commission, Harmony's client list. Each message would include the full video, timestamps, and a professional assessment of ethical concerns. I scheduled everything for 11:47 p.m. on gala night, after the public exposure, before they could start damage control. Thursday came again. Harmony announced another girls' night. Have fun with Bianca, I said, not looking up from my laptop. Actually, it's at Felicia's tonight. Wine and podcasts. Sounds fun. She studied me for a moment. You okay? You've been distant. Just the gala prep. Want everything perfect. You're sweet. She kissed my forehead. Don't wait up. I waited until she left, then tested my system one more time. Everything synced perfectly. The countdown script was armed. The emails were queued. Friday night, Harmony came home late, humming. She'd been with Constantine, I could smell his cologne. Tom Ford. Expensive. Trying too hard. Tomorrow's the big night, she said, modeling her gala dress. What do you think? Beautiful, I said, meaning it. She looked perfect for what was coming. You sure you want to work the event? We could just enjoy it together. I committed to the AV. Besides, it's important to you. She curled into bed beside me, playing loving girlfriend. I'm proud of you, volunteering, supporting the hospital. You're such a good man, Ashton. I stared at the ceiling, feeling her breath on my shoulder. Yeah, I said. I try to be. The grand ballroom looked like money had exploded and rained gold. Crystal chandeliers threw light across 300 of the city's finest pretenders. I arrived at 4 to supervise setup, but really to hardwire my override into the main system. The AV booth sat elevated at the back, glass windows providing a full view. I ran connection tests on all 17 displays, perfect synchronization. The donation board alone was pulling live feeds from 1,200 phones in the building. By 7, couples started arriving. I watched from my position, cataloging faces. Harold and Bianca entered first. He looked exhausted from a surgery marathon. She looked bored already, scanning the room like she was calculating escape routes. Jerome and Felicia came next. He was talking animatedly about tax reform. She was nodding while texting behind her clutch. Roxanne arrived with her husband Stuart, who immediately got pulled into a conversation about market volatility. She used the distraction to grab champagne and circle the room. Then Harmony and I walked in together. You clean up nice, she said, adjusting my tie in the lobby. You too. She wore the black dress that cost 2 mortgage payments. Diamond earrings I'd bought for our anniversary. The smile she'd perfected in 1,000 PR photos. I should find our table, she said. You good with the tech stuff? Always am. She squeezed my hand, performance for anyone watching, then floated away toward her friends. They'd claimed table 7, strategic position near the bar but far from the main stage. Their husbands looked like hostages at their own execution. I took my position in the booth. The program schedule showed dinner service until 8:30, keynote at 9, auction at 9:30. I'd strike at 9:25, maximum audience, minimum time for intervention. The keynote speaker was some pharmaceutical executive droning about innovation and giving. I watched Harmony from above. She kept checking her phone under the table, smiling at something that wasn't the speech. 9:20 hit. The speaker was wrapping up. The auctioneer warming up backstage. 300 people finishing their desserts and preparing their checkbooks. I typed the execute command. Every screen in the ballroom flickered, the main projectors, the auxiliary monitors, the donation board, even the kitchen display systems. Then the footage began. Constantine's voice filled the room first, to mixing business with pleasure. Then Roxanne, to husbands who think we're reading book club pics. The laughter that followed might as well have been gunfire. I watched Harold's face first. He'd been cutting into his creme brulee when he heard his wife's voice saying she almost felt bad about lying to him. The spoon fell from his hand. Jerome stood so fast his chair tipped. On screen, Felicia was explaining her 3 hidden credit cards. Stuart, Roxanne's husband, hadn't moved. He stared at the projection of his wife discussing the waterfront property viewing with a man who wasn't him. His knuckles were white around his whiskey glass, but Harmony's face was the masterpiece. Confusion hit first. Why was there suddenly different footage? Then recognition. That was her voice, her laugh, her hand on Constantine's thigh. Then terror, the slow-motion realization that 300 people were watching her mock me, listening to her call me clingy, witnessing her plan to sell my company's data. The room erupted. Bianca tried to run, but her heels caught in her dress. She stumbled, grabbed table 9 for support, sent champagne glasses cascading. Felicia was screaming something at the AV booth, pointing up at me like she could make it stop with fury alone. Roxanne had her phone out, frantically trying to call someone, lawyer, crisis manager, God himself maybe, but her phone was playing the footage too. Everyone's was. The donation board had pushed it to every synced device. An elderly woman at table 3, I recognized her as Roxanne's mother-in-law, slumped in her chair. Medical staff rushed over. Someone destroyed the main audio, but the screens kept playing. The visual was enough: Constantine's hand disappearing under the table, the kisses that weren't friendly, the planning of next week's deception. Security was moving toward the AV booth. I locked the system with a password that would take them 20 minutes to crack, then walked out the back stairs. But I wasn't running. I had one more thing to do. I entered through the kitchen, walking calmly through the chaos toward the main podium. The microphone was still live. Time to introduce myself properly. The microphone feedback cut through the chaos like a blade. 300 heads turned toward the podium where I stood, adjusting the mic stand with steady hands. Good evening. I'm Ashton Reed, Senior Cybersecurity Analyst at Palmer Industries. Some of you know me. Most of you just watched my relationship die on those screens. The room went cemetery quiet. 5 nights ago, I followed my girlfriend to discover the truth. What you've seen is just a sample. 3 hours of footage exist: every confession, every plan, every moment of contempt for the men who love them. Harold was standing near the exit, his surgical hand shaking. Jerome had collapsed back into his chair. Stuart still hadn't moved, frozen like a statue holding whiskey. But this isn't about broken hearts, I continued. It's about broken trust. These women sit on your boards, handle your medical care, sell your homes, manage your public relations. If they can orchestrate this level of deception against the people they claim to love, what else are they capable of? Bianca rushed the stage, her designer heels clicking against marble. You bastard. You had no right. Security intercepted her 10 feet away. She fought them, screaming something about privacy and lawsuits. Her elderly investor, Judge Morrison's wife, was already gathering her things to leave. Evidence packages have been sent to relevant authorities, I said, maintaining eye contact with the crowd. The State Nursing Board, the Real Estate Licensing Commission, the Boutiques Investment Board, every client on Harmony's roster. Felicia tried next, approaching from the side. Ashton, please, we can talk about this. There are things you don't understand, like theft of medication samples? That's in the package too, Felicia, along with the 2 previous hospitals you left under mysterious circumstances. She stopped mid-step. Or should we discuss Roxanne's creative property valuations, the ones that help certain buyers secure loans they shouldn't have qualified for? Roxanne's phone hit the floor. In the corner, I could see 2 real estate competitors already texting, probably calculating how to poach her clients. Harmony finally moved. She walked toward me slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. The crowd parted. She'd switched to crisis management mode, shoulders back, tears perfectly placed to catch the light. Ashton. Her voice was soft, calculated to carry just enough to seem private while ensuring everyone heard. I know you're hurt. We should handle this privately, like you handled Thursday nights privately? I reached into my jacket and pulled out a small velvet box. The gasp from the crowd was audible. 2 carats, Clarity VS1, color grade F. I opened it, letting the diamond catch the chandelier light. Had it sized to your specifications, the ones you thought I didn't know. Was going to propose next month. Had the whole thing planned. That restaurant you've been wanting to try. Your favorite flowers. Even wrote a speech about trust being the foundation of forever. I walked to the charity auction table where the donation box sat. The ring cost $23,000. I dropped it in the box. I'll match the highest donation tonight in honor of teaching everyone what trust is really worth. Someone started clapping, then stopped, realizing the awkwardness. One more thing, I said, returning to the mic. The emails I mentioned, they're scheduled for 11:47 tonight. That gives you about 2 hours to explain to your employers, boards, and clients before they see everything Monday morning. Bianca's investor was already on her phone. 2 board members from the hospital had cornered Felicia. Roxanne's mother-in-law was being helped out by paramedics. But here's the thing, I said, looking directly at Harmony. While you 4 were planning tonight's performance, thinking you were so clever with your powered-off phones and secret signals, I found something else. The women exchanged glances. First time all night they looked genuinely confused. See, Harmony, remember 3 weeks ago when you borrowed my laptop? Your cloud drive login saved automatically. Her face went white. Amazing what people record when they think they're safe. Videos you took yourselves. Documents you thought were private. Things that make tonight look like kindergarten. I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen. Should we preview it for everyone, or would you prefer to discuss this privately? The silence was absolute. You have until midnight to decide. After that, I send everything to people who will find it very interesting. I set the mic back in its stand. Enjoy the auction, everyone. It's for a wonderful cause. I walked out through the main entrance, past security still scrambling toward the AV booth, past donors frozen with champagne flutes midair. My phone buzzed constantly, Harmony calling, texting, probably trying every manipulation in her playbook. I sat in my car and opened the cloud drive on my phone. The folder structure told its own story: Thursday fun, investment opportunities, side projects. But the best part was the subfolder labeled insurance. They'd been recording each other, mutual blackmail, I guess, to ensure nobody broke ranks. Roxanne snorting lines at her open houses, laughing about clients who trusted her to sell their homes. Felicia pocketing medication samples, joking she was building a personal pharmacy. Bianca showing falsified inventory reports for insurance claims, bragging about the $40,000 payout. And Harmony, sweet, sophisticated Harmony, on video admitting she'd been skimming from client accounts, billing for services never rendered, charging Palmer Industries for PR work that went straight to Constantine's firm. My phone rang. Harold. The cloud drive, he said without preamble. Is it real? Every byte. Send it to me. My divorce attorney will want everything. Check your email at midnight. 3 more husbands called. Same conversation, same promise. By 11:30, my phone showed 19 missed calls from Harmony, 12 from Felicia, 8 from Bianca. Roxanne had gone quiet, probably already lawyered up. At 11:46, 1 minute before the scheduled emails, Harmony appeared at my car window. No tears now, just raw panic. Please, we can work this out. The stuff in that drive, it'll ruin everything. That's the point. I'll lose my license. I could face charges. Probably. Ashton, I loved you. No, you loved the stability I provided while you played your games. You loved the cover story. You loved having someone to mock with your friends. My phone chimed. 11:47. Email sent, I said. Your clients will have everything by morning. The FBI will probably find the fraud interesting. The IRS too. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. Behind her, Bianca and Felicia emerged from the venue, mascara streaking their cheeks. Roxanne followed, on her phone with what sounded like a crisis management firm. You destroyed us, Bianca spat. You destroyed yourselves. I just documented it. Monday arrived with beautiful devastation. Bianca's boutique was closed by Tuesday. Her investors pulled everything, and the insurance fraud investigation began immediately. The federal judge's wife gave a particularly scathing interview about trust in business partnerships. Felicia's nursing license was suspended pending investigation. The hospital fired her within hours of receiving the evidence. Jerome filed for divorce and full custody, which he won when the court saw the medication theft videos. Last I heard, she was working at a wellness center teaching yoga. Roxanne faced the worst: securities fraud, tax evasion, possession charges. Her real estate license was revoked across all 3 states. Stewart didn't just divorce her, he used his hedge fund connections to ensure she'd never work in finance-adjacent fields again. Her mother-in-law recovered from her gala collapse and personally funded the prosecution. And Harmony, my beautiful, calculating Harmony. 15 clients dropped her in the first week. Her firm fired her for cause, no severance. The embezzlement charges stuck. Constantine and Apex wanted nothing to do with her once her crimes went public. She tried starting her own consultancy, but who hires a PR manager who became the city's biggest PR disaster? 6 months later, I was in line at a coffee shop downtown, reviewing security protocols on my phone. Palmer had promoted me to chief security officer after my demonstration of integrity and attention to detail. Large coffee, oat milk, 2 sugars. I knew that voice. Looked up to see Harmony behind the counter, green apron over a polo shirt, name tag slightly crooked. Our eyes met. She opened her mouth, probably to attempt some last manipulation, Some plea for forgiveness or money or just acknowledgement that what we had was real. Just the coffee, I said, placing a 5 on the counter. Keep the change. I took my cup and walked out. Through the window, I saw her standing there holding a $5 bill like it might explain how she'd fallen so far. My phone buzzed, a text from a prosecutor I'd been dating, asking about dinner plans. I smiled, texted back, and didn't look back at the coffee shop. Some bridges are meant to burn. I just made sure to record the fire.